Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, I don't need to tell you that the Cleveland Browns are going through a bit of a rough patch right now. The latest game in London against the Minnesota Vikings was another heartbreaker, another close call that left fans frustrated and questioning just about everything. And when I say frustrated, I mean there's a growing chorus of fans wondering if it's time for a change at the top, if Kevin Stefanski is still the right guy to lead this team to the promised land. Because let's be honest, Browns fans are passionate, they're loyal, but they're also tired of seeing their team fall just short, especially in games that seemed winnable at times. This game in London was particularly telling. Cleveland had a solid lead, 17-14, with just a few minutes left on the clock, and everything looked like it was heading in the right direction. The defense was holding strong, the offense was doing enough to keep the game within reach. But then, as so often happens in these tight matchups, the Vikings found a way to strike back. Carson Wentz, who's been trying to find his groove this season, threw a 12-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Addison with only 25 seconds remaining. It was a clutch play, a perfect example of how a game can turn on a dime in the NFL. And just like that, Minnesota took the lead, winning 21-17, leaving Browns fans with a bitter taste of what could have been. This loss drops the Browns to a 1-4 record, a start that no one envisioned when the season kicked off. But what really stings is the way the team has been performing, especially on offense. Cleveland has yet to score over 20 points in a game this season. That's a stark statistic that speaks volumes about the struggles on that side of the ball. And it's not just about the points. They're lacking consistency, rhythm, and that killer instinct that championship teams need. When you look at the roster, you see talent. Players like Amari Cooper, who's been a bright spot, and defensive leaders like Myles Garrett, who continues to dominate on the line. But talent alone isn't enough if the coaching staff can't put them in a position to succeed. And speaking of coaching, this is where a lot of fans are voicing their frustrations. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, has been under scrutiny. It's no secret that Browns fans have been vocal about their dissatisfaction, especially after games like these. The internet is flooded with tweets and posts questioning his decision-making, his clock management, and whether he's the right person to steer the ship. Some fans are openly calling for his ouster, arguing that it's time for a new direction, a fresh perspective that could turn this team around. The sentiment is clear. "Can we fire Stefanski already?" is a phrase you see cropping up more and more after every close loss. People are tired of the same patterns, the same mistakes, and the inability to close out games. The game against the Vikings was so frustrating for many because it exposed some of these issues in stark relief. For instance, some fans pointed out questionable play calls, like running the ball twice in a row then throwing on third down, which allowed Minnesota to burn their last timeout. Others criticized the clock management, noting how the Browns called their timeouts at the wrong moments, giving the Vikings more time to set up for the final play. It's these little details that, over the course of a season, can make all the difference between a win and a loss. And unfortunately for Cleveland, it's these details that seem to be slipping through the cracks right now. But let's not forget the bright side. The Browns do have talent on this roster. There are players who can make plays, who can change the course of a game in an instant. But talent alone isn't enough if the coaching staff isn't getting the most out of them. The struggles on offense are glaring. They haven't scored over 20 points in any game this season. That's a problem that goes beyond just execution. It's about scheme, play calling, and confidence. When a team can't put up points, the pressure on the defense mounts, and in close games, that makes all the difference. Now, looking ahead, the Browns have a tough road upcoming. After this game in London, they're heading on the road again to face the Pittsburgh Steelers, a division rival that always brings out the best in their defense. It's going to be another test of resilience for Cleveland. Meanwhile, Minnesota, with that victory, improves to 3-2 and gets a bit of breathing room in the division. They're on a bye next week, giving them extra time to prepare for the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that's been flying high this season. So, for Cleveland, the focus shifts to regrouping, analyzing what's going wrong, and figuring out how to turn things around quickly. And it's not just about wins and losses. It's about identity, confidence, and trust within the team. Players like Myles Garrett continue to be the cornerstone of the defense, but even he can't do it alone. The offense needs to find its rhythm, and that's where the questions about Kevin Stefanski come into sharper focus. Is he the right guy to develop Dillon Gabriel, the rookie quarterback who got his first NFL start in this game? Gabriel showed flashes, completing 19 of 33 passes for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, which isn't bad for a first start, but it's also not enough to carry a team over the top. The coaching staff appears committed to sticking with Gabriel for now, but the clock is ticking for Stefanski and his staff to find answers, to get this offense clicking and start putting points on the board consistently. The fan base's frustration is palpable, and I get it. When you see the talent on the roster, when you see the potential that's there, it's maddening to watch games slip away because of coaching decisions or execution issues. Browns fans have seen this team compete hard, but they've also seen seasons derailed by mismanagement, bad clock management, and inability to finish games. It's a roller coaster, and right now, it's heading downward more than upward. I want to remind everyone, football is a long season, and sometimes these setbacks serve as wake-up calls. The key is how this team responds, how they learn from these mistakes, and whether they can rally to finish strong. Looking at the bigger picture, the AFC North is one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers are all formidable opponents, and for Cleveland to climb back into the playoff picture, they need to start winning games, especially divisional matchups. The Steelers, next week's opponent, are always a tough challenge, especially with their stifling defense and a quarterback who knows how to win close games. Cleveland's defense, led by Garrett, will need to be at their best, but the offense has to step up and provide some support. That's been the missing piece so far: consistent offensive production that keeps defenses honest and gives the team a chance to win late in games. Now let's talk a little about the history and expectations surrounding this team. The Browns have been rebuilding for years, and there's always that glimmer of hope that this could be their breakout season. The talent is there, the coaching staff has shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency remains elusive. Fans have been patient, but patience wears thin when close games become heartbreakers, when seasons are lost in the final minutes, and when the team seems to be spinning its wheels. But Cleveland is a proud franchise with a passionate fan base that demands excellence. They want to see the team fight, compete, and most importantly, win. In recent seasons, the Browns have been on an upward trajectory, gathering young talent and building a solid foundation. But the last few weeks have been a stark reminder that there's still work to do. The defensive unit, especially the pass rush led by Garrett, continues to be a bright spot. They're creating pressure, forcing turnovers, and keeping the team in games. However, the offense needs to do more. The inability to score over 20 points consistently is a glaring issue that needs urgent attention. The coaching staff, led by Stefanski, must find solutions quickly if they want to keep this team afloat and give their fans hope for a playoff push. As we look at the season so far, it's clear that the Browns are facing adversity, but adversity can also serve as motivation. It's an opportunity for growth, for adjustments, and for players and coaches alike to prove their resilience. The upcoming games will be crucial, not just for the standings but for the confidence of this team and its fans. The AFC North is unforgiving, and every game counts. Cleveland's window to make a statement is still open, but they need to start closing that window on mistakes and opening it on execution and determination. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you believe Kevin Stefanski can turn things around? Are you frustrated with the offensive struggles? Or do you think there's still hope that this team can bounce back and make a deep playoff run? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Remember, this is a community, a family of passionate fans who love this team through thick and thin. I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and news, so stay tuned for everything Cleveland Browns. We're in this together, and I believe brighter days are ahead. Let's keep the faith, keep supporting our team, and never lose sight of that Super Bowl dream. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to US and TO, the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news.